Hello everybody and welcome back to the industry-leading podcast, Call Yourself a Wholesaler by Lamps Electrical. We've been away for a while. We haven't released a podcast in a few weeks, but there's been valid and good reason for that. We've been working on one of the largest projects Lamps Electrical has worked on or achieved in the last 20 years of existence. In the last 12 months, we've been working tirelessly to create a online renewable division. Now, we've mentioned it on previous podcasts, but I'm delighted to say that this platform is now live and ready to use. As I said, 12 months of extremely hard work, and a few delays along the way as well, like all of these large projects have. But we have finally got there, and we are proud to announce that we believe we have the most user-friendly renewable platform in the market space, but also the fastest. Our goal to you, if you sign up to Evergy and use the Evergy platform, is that you will be able to place an order in less than 20 seconds. We believe it's the most user-friendly and fastest platform on the market space, so please get yourself online to www.evergy.co.uk and take a look around. Some perks for sign up. So as a new customer, whether you are a cash sale customer paying by credit card or whether you are an existing customer of Lamps putting it on your credit account, every customer that signs up gets a one-off 5% discount on their first order. So again, please go to our website, www.evergy.co.uk, and take a look around. Exciting times ahead. So what else have we been doing in Lamps over the last few weeks since we last had our podcast, episode 6, with Jake from Skolmore, updating us on the regulation changes that are due to come. We've had plenty going on since the summer. We are recently new stockists of ESDEC mounting system for solar PV, so please contact our renewable department, Evergy, for more detail on that, or go online and have a look. We are also Hypervolt stockists as well now, so you will see again from the website that you will be able to purchase Hypervolt EV chargers alongside our other brands like Easee, Omi, My Energy, Zappies, etc. And also from a normal electrical wholesale point of view, we are now stocking the KSR downlighter in packets of 10 rather than individuals. So we do both individuals and 10s. And you'll be able to get a better deal on the 10s than you will do on the individuals if you're doing a bulk purchase. We've also recently held some AJAX CCTV training at our Bicester showroom in our Bicester branch. This was extremely well received with 12 contractors attending the day. And really valuable session actually. Something that we are looking to do in the future, but as all these things, we wanted to get some feedback from people. And I think the key features that were taken away from the day is that Ajax is a European-based company. All of their product comes from Europe and not out of Asia, as a lot of CCTV products do. So that was a really big selling point when you bear in mind that all of the media coverage on the spying details and bits and bobs around the CCTV goods coming from China. So that was a really key point. But also the way the product is designed. Ajax has a designer that used to work for Apple. So as you can imagine, the product is really slick and neat and tidy. And that was a really key feature taken away from the day. But they don't just do CCTV. They do fire. They do smoke alarms. They do doorbells. They do remote. They do door access. Sorry, so everything that you think might just be fed down the CCTV route, it isn't. Ajax do a basket full of product that you might be interested to have a look at. We are also installing this on our properties within Lamps, so if you do have any more interest on it, we could give you a demo. So, our last episode was episode 6, and as I said earlier, that was Jake Green from Scolmore updating everybody on the regulation changes. Today, episode 7, we have Sam Levy from Easee that is going to talk to us about the Easee charger as a product, but also Easee as a business and how they've grown to such an empire, you could say, across Europe over the last few years. So we're going to get straight into the guest part of the podcast. Let's go in to Sam Levy from Easee. Right, hello everybody and welcome to the guest part of episode 7 of our industry podcast, Call Yourself a Wholesaler. And today we're going to talk about renewables. Today I've got Sam from Easee with me. Do you want to introduce yourself, Sam? Hello and welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me. Yeah, nice to be here. I'm a sales manager for Easee UK.
Yep.
I've been with the business now for 4 years, so that was our point of entry into the UK market.
Yeah, fantastic. We always start these episodes off with a couple of icebreakers, just so we can get the listeners to understand, who they're talking to. No visual, obviously. So, a couple of questions. If you were to be able to choose somebody to sit next to on a plane for 10 hours, who would it be?
10 hours. Blimey, okay. Without me boring them, or without them boring me?
Well, either way, somebody you'd like to spend 10 hours with.
Probably Johnny Wilkinson.
Oh, okay.
I love Johnny Wilkinson. He inspired me to play rugby, so I loved him very much. But I fear I would annoy him for his restful 10 hours by just asking him questions.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Interesting. We've not had a rugby player yet, so that's good. And a couple of more. Dancing or karaoke?
I'm terrible at dancing. I'm also terrible at singing. So, but I think I'd prefer karaoke.
Yes, and likewise, totally. Very, very good. So we're here to talk about Easee, obviously, and with Lamps moving into the renewable world in a big way now, we are really sort of keen and enthused about getting the message across to our listeners, mainly or hopefully customers, a lot of them, where they understand the product, the Easee product, and also sort of how we're working together as a partnership. So, if you don't mind, give us a little bit of history on Easee and where you are today.
So it's a really cool company, actually. So we were founded in 2018 by 3 electrical engineers.
So recent then.
Very new business.
Yeah.
So they'd actually been pretty crucial in setting up another EV charging manufacturer, also based out of Norway. But there were a few things in that business that So I should start by saying when they set up Easee, they wanted to prioritize 2 things. They wanted to prioritize people. So the people within the organization, the partnerships that we established, and then also products.
Okay.
Those 2 things were prioritized above anything else. There was a core foundation, a core belief that if we can get those things right and choosing the right people, the right partners, and then delivering the right products, money follows. That was always the ethos and is today. That wasn't sort of fundamental or established in the previous business that they were involved in. So They came in when they set up Easee. That was from day one.
Right.
They established that before they even started doing R&D of products, which I always thought was quite cool. So it's an amazing development. I don't know how much we can go into today, but the year 1 was really spent building the foundation of culture, how we wanted to deliver our product through partners and people, and then also developing really cool products. So products that were incredibly innovative, future-proofed. And what I mean by that is that products that were installed in 2020 would still be viable and still be perfectly useful in 2030.
Yeah.
And that comes from over-the-air updates, functionality of the actual charger, all of the developments that are kind of unforeseen, whether it's regulatory or whatever it might be, still standing from a product side, standing true in that sort of period of time. And in 2019, we delivered 19,000 chargers.
Into Norway.
Yeah. And then the volume and development of the business really started to kick off in 2020. So in 2020, we started establishing new markets. So the UK, Germany and the Netherlands were formed as legal entities, so entities under the Norwegian business. And the volume of product at that point went from quite, fairly strong numbers to quite unbelievable numbers. So we started to deliver, I think it was 60,000 in 2020. And then we started to go close to 200,000 in 2021.
So 19,000 to 200,000 in 2 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. And then where we stand today in 2024 is we've got 800,000 chargers installed across mainly UK and Europe.
Yeah.
And we're the largest connected EV manufacturer in the world. So, it's quite something.
Incredible.
And all of this, what I think is so special about this whole journey is that all of it was off that core foundation, off that core belief that if we work with the right people and we employ the right people and we build a product which people love, where innovation is kind of at the foundation of that product, those two sort of foundational parts of our business have led us to that development of growth.
Yeah.
And it's often, my background, I was working in fintech before I met this crazy guy, Alan, but that's a different story. I was working in fintech. It was solely driven by revenue, time, your time was monitored, it was managed, revenue was the core focus. If we weren't delivering revenue, that was the business failing effectively. There was no emphasis on people or who we work with, why do we work with them, and that's a very core difference.
You've got to get that right, and you've got to get the balance right and then get any business. And that just proves to you, all right, the renewable market or generally the renewable sector has grown during those years, but you have shown incredible growth, haven't you, just from the figures you've just shared. So how did you break into the UK market? And obviously that was a real success at the time, but how do you see the EV industry in the UK now?
So in terms of breaking into the UK market, let's say my background wasn't renewables. It wasn't anything to do with EV at all, really. But what was clear to me at the time of when I came to the business, so I was the first sales hire within the business, but what was very evident to me was that through OZEV, people were buying chargers from distributors.
Yeah.
So when we were trying to build a strategy around actually who do we sell to and how do we deliver a product to the marketplace, it was mainly derived around who are the best distributors of electrical goods.
Yep.
And then it was finding out who were the actual best people within those businesses. So we kind of did a road trip of nationals, regionals, and so on, and we found good people. So that was really interesting. Our CEO, a chap called Jonas, he was the founder, one of the three founders. When I joined, he actually phoned me and said to me, go and find partners with good people, sit at the table and just speak to them.
Yeah.
Don't base any of your decisions on sort of geographical locations, how much money they're doing. Just find good people, good partnerships, because if you can build on those good partnerships, it will stand the test of time and you can kind of collaborate and build together. So that was super interesting. So we did that. But as I say, OZEV was the gateway to that, because only approved installers could effectively install these chargers, and probably 99% of the time, a lot of these, especially in the domestic setting, these installers are buying from electrical wholesalers. So that was low-hanging fruit. That was our gateway into the market, and that's where we started. And that's also stood the test of time, because we've got new partnerships like this, but we've also got our original partnerships, which through good, bad, are brilliant. Great people, great businesses, and so on.
Yeah.
Where's the EV space today?
Yeah, so give us sort of an update on where it is, because you do hear a lot of mixed, certainly on our side of the fence, you hear a lot of mixed views. One phone call will say the EV market's flat, another phone call will say it's really strong. So just for our listeners, just especially customers, so it gives them some reassurance, I suppose, is where are we, do you think, at the minute with the EV space?
I think flat is probably like a poor description, because I think it just transitions, is what I've seen over the past 4 years. So, and I mean, transitioning from OZEV from domestic, so there was huge volume. Installers that we were working with were doing 3 installs a day every day across all of their engineers, to OZEV went away, and there was a long stopgap between issuing a new grant, and then that came in the form of commercial grants, school grants, workplace grants.
Okay, yeah.
So suddenly you see, I guess, that thrive towards more commercial settings, but it's in a very exciting place. So in an emerging market, such as the space that we're in now, you see innovation in its true fashion. So not just in development of chargers and cars, but in everything.
Yeah.
There are really, really cool companies out there doing really cool things to make driving EVs super convenient, super smart, super cheap.
Yeah.
All of these things. And that's what you do get from a new market space. It's quite busy, where you get these fluctuations of here one thing, here another thing, and that can kind of change the outlook. But in the core sort of basic principle of our industry, it's very exciting. From developments, after OZEV, we saw suddenly massive transitions to huge businesses, energy companies, retail outlets delivering EV charging at scale. And then that became really, really exciting, not just for installers, but also for consumers as well. So consumers were able to access and charge their cars for £5.
Yeah.
And that was traveling 300 miles. And that's what we see today. So, we've effectively got a fuel station at home now, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've driven EVs now for best part of 3.5 years. You literally have got a fuel station at home, and I think that is one of the coolest things, most convenient things. I never knew how much I disliked petrol stations. Like it was a very weird thing, but anyway.
I know exactly what you mean.
So you've got that at home, and then suddenly, as a consumer, like a core founding, very fun thing is that you wake up and your car is full, and you can go anywhere in the UK that's 300 miles away. And it's cost you £5.
Exactly. You've plugged in on the overnight tariff. It's £5. Off you go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and that comes back to all of these products being reliable, smart, being able to evolve with the different propositions that are out there. Because with all these new propositions, you've got to have the foundation of product to be able to evolve and deliver those propositions. So if that's energy companies, if it's stuff to do with the car.
Yeah, the technology upgrade of the car, etc.
Exactly. And then there's some more stuff which is really cool around vehicle to grid, right? The vehicle to grid is not really discussed today because car manufacturers don't really allow it. But in time, you've effectively gone from having a fuel station at home to having a battery storage at home in your car, which is maybe a 50 to 60 kilowatt hour battery storage.
Yeah.
It runs your home daily when your consumption might be 15 to 20 kilowatt hours at home for a high usage home. So suddenly you can charge your car in cheap tariffs and then power your house for nothing on £5, which is, I think, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's ever evolving, is it? So give us some current, just before we go on to the product, the Easee charger itself, just give us some numbers of where the market space is with EV at the moment.
So July was a very big month. So for new, we saw 27,500 vehicles come into the marketplace. So that's a big month.
Yeah.
That's a huge.
So that must be up on the previous month.
Yes. Yeah. But it's up on the previous year as well.
Okay.
So I think it was, in fact, I've got it here, 23,000 in 2023. So an 18% uplift.
Year on year, 18%.
Year on year, which is incredible.
So that shows the market is very strong.
Yeah. But the big transition for me in the data that we started to see was from used vehicles. So you've kind of got this two-pronged approach, which is you can't sell used vehicles if new vehicles are not coming into the marketplace.
Yeah.
But with people like Tesla launching new models of such strong and popular brand models, so the Model 3, for example, and then Model Y is coming soon as well. I think Model Y was one of the best-selling EVs, not just in the UK, but I think globally.
It's one EV car that does actually retain its value as well.
Is it?
From what I've seen, they've not like dropped off a cliff like some of the second-hand pricing has.
But they're great cars. So suddenly you've got all of these lease deals from 2020 which have ended. So you've now got an influx of very good used EVs coming into the space. So July saw a massive month. So I know BCA reported some pretty astronomical figures, but I think they were going to do 30,000 EVs this year, and that's just used.
Yeah.
So where you've got these incredibly popular EVs coming back into the marketplace on used, they are incredibly competitive. So I know many people will say, but they don't hold their value. You kind of only get penalised if you're the first buyer.
Yeah.
That's now happened. The benefit now shifts to the used by
Absolutely.
because they can get these great cars,
Low mileage.
yeah, Model 3s, Model Ys, when they come in, they are great cars.
Yeah.
They do really good distances in terms of accuracy of what you charge to actually what you get when you're driving on the road. But this iteration and transition will just keep happening. So you'll keep getting all of these cool new EVs that are landing now that perhaps you don't want to buy because of the nervousness around what the residual value will be or whatever that might be. They'll come back into the marketplace because of the nature of how leasing vehicles works. Whether it's company leases or if it's private leases, you'll see them in the marketplace again at 3 years, but at a bargain.
Yeah.
And then when you can charge from home, you suddenly go spending £250, £300 a month on fuel to spending like 50 quid a month on electricity.
That's it. And you, as a company car, you'll have the tax benefits and currently.
Absolutely. They might go away, but you do have them currently.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So good insight, I think. And I think one thing I wanted to highlight today was we do hear that mixed signal from customers, as I said, and the feedback we're hearing from the majority of suppliers is that the EV market is actually on the up. And as you've just clarified there, you've got the stats. This is not a flat, if you want to use that word, or a declining market space. This is a growing space.
Yeah.
So
and we're seeing
really good.
August and July, we're seeing that volume kind of materialize into sales volume.
Yeah.
So largely, the majority of what we do is through distributors still.
Yes.
So probably about 70% of our sales volume is through distributors. We are seeing some of the biggest months, not just year to date, but in previous years, summertime was typically, it was quieter. I don't know why. I think it's this weird thing where in the UK, when it's hottest, everyone goes on holiday to somewhere else hot.
Yeah.
So people, things slow down. But it's actually the best time to get an EV charger. But we've seen, against other years, difference in forecasting to we were selling in July and August about roughly 3 times more than we'd forecasted for. Okay. So it's on the up.
Yeah, incredible. Well, it's good to know. So obviously, Easee have done a great job at getting their product out into the market space across Europe and especially in the UK. I also have got one of these chargers on my house. We've also, customers that have seen our branches, we've also got them across all of our branch network now as well. So talk to me a bit about the product, because it is a unique, nice looking product. So great job done in the UK. You're obviously having a great time in terms of sales numbers, but give us a bit of an idea as to the value of what your product brings.
So again, this kind of goes down to origin of how we set up the business. There was always the idea that there are so many iterations of different products in the space. So if you look at other manufacturers, there are, in some cases, 20 different versions of that one charger. We wanted to create a charger which had everything in the box. So if you needed 4G, you have to pay for it. It was in the box. It was in the charger. If you needed a 22 kilowatt, but it was also variable down, or if you needed to add a second charger to that original installation, it always had the capability of doing that. It never needed someone to turn up with a laptop and plug it in and do an update. In that vision, it's also very similar to what Teslas do, which is kind of over-the-air updates. So for a customer, their product's always live and up to date with the latest developments, but it also means for primarily your customers, your electricians, your engineers, they're not having to go back and see chargers. Yeah. To update them, plug a dongle.
Yeah, so that's a massive set, isn't it?
It's a huge sell.
Yeah, time and everything, cost.
So we have 2 products for the UK specifically. So we have Easee Charge, which is our commercial 22 kilowatt charger.
Yeah.
There's some really cool features about that. And then we've got the Easee One, which is our, it's actually bespoke. So it was bespokely made for the UK. It's got pen fault integral to the charger. It's designed to be single phase only. We have 3 4G roaming SIMs, so you can choose between having Wi-Fi and the actual SIM if you want, and that's paid for by us. So we never ask consumers to pay a monthly subscription or anything like that. All of the cost is in the box, as I say. So they're really cool chargers. And Easee One, awards have kind of been coming through the door.
Yeah, recently as well.
Yeah, very recently actually. That's been amazing actually for our business, because we've often thought we've got a really great charger. We recognise we miss out on a couple of bits that we really need to develop and move a bit quicker. But actually, the core product itself is great. So it's reliable.
Yeah.
You know, we see reliability data. We actually publish it on the website, so customers and installers can go and look at our website and actually see what the reliability of not just chargers in the UK but chargers globally.
Yeah. So your failure rate is minimal.
0.05%.
0.05. Wow.
On 800,000 chargers globally installed. So it's, yeah, in terms of electrical.
Oh, there's a stat.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really
Yeah.
It's also smart. You know, it's incredibly smart to allow consumers to charge their car, you know, autonomously without human intervention through scheduling. You can dial into your chargers through our app. We then have the installer app, which actually revolutionized commissioning and installing.
Yeah, so this is a massive key point for our customers, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely massive, because when we, as I say, it was a very short time ago, it was 2020, 2021. And even today, you know, there are many manufacturers out there that boast about really quick commissioning times, but they're sort of 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We released the installer app, which fundamentally gives a control to the installer, but allows them to commission the device in seconds. And I mean, it's super, super quick. So we've got a modularized charger with the backplate, and this is the same for both of our chargers, Easee Charge, Easee One. The backplate is where you terminate, you know, the wires, and then that's where you commission it. So I call it the kind of brains behind everything that we do, because you can commission that backplate and then do one of really two things. So you can kind of leave it as a backplate with a slightly different cover.
Yep.
We call that Easee Ready.
Okay.
And what that means is that it's then wired and commissioned, and you can add a charger at any point to that in the future.
So if somebody's doing an underground car park, high resi, 20 car park spaces full of EV, that's what
It's
the benefits
perfect,
are.
because it might be, and we see this all the time in projects that we do, where today they've only got 10 EVs on their fleet, so they want 5 to 10 chargers.
Yeah.
But they're currently transitioning their whole fleet, and it's kind of the point that we take is, okay, well, you can put all of the infrastructure in now, you can put all of the backplates in now, you can terminate them, and then when you need to activate them, you don't need to have the electrician come back. A competent individual can go and, we call it the robot, but it's the middle component of our charger, and they just plug it in. Plug you similar to sort of plugging in a socket. Plug socket.
So the end user can do that?
Yeah, a competent individual.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to say that. But that's...
Yeah.
So we see it at sites where it's the maintenance manager, for example, that will buy the stock from the installation company.
Yeah.
And then if the installer's around, brilliant. If not, they can send them the robot, and the maintenance team can go and fit them.
And it's done because you commissioned it, done.
Yeah, it takes about 10 seconds to upload to the cloud, and then they're ready to go.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so there are incredibly strong sort of value propositions around the installer app and the way that the chargers are installed. Because we worked out with a competitor, if it takes 10 minutes and you're doing 100 chargers, which is clearly a big site, I think it takes 16 and a half hours to commission each of those chargers. Whereas if you have 100 Easees and you're using the installer app, I think it takes about an hour and a half. Yeah. So you can then start to see all of these efficiency gains around actual installation, which are hugely beneficial, especially if you're running a team of 4 and you've got a few other jobs. You can start to do these in a very, very efficient manner. Wow,
that's a massive selling point. And in terms of the appearance of the product, it's a smart looking charger, isn't it? And it comes, I'll let you tell people, but different colours, casings, etc.
Yeah, again, so I think one of our early taglines was that everything's in the box. So the hardest choice that consumer has is to choose the colour of their cover.
Yeah,
because both chargers are identical in size. They both look the same. It would actually probably take an installer to recognise the difference, because one's just single phase outlet and one's a 3-phase outlet. But yeah, so we've got 5 colours of blue, red, grey, white, and then black as it comes in standard. So it's a really cool site, actually. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but so Coca-Cola have Easee chargers, and they're all red.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
So it makes sense.
Yeah. So it's, across all of their distribution locations, all the covers are red. Yeah, which is for sites like that.
You should think about going to football clubs, Sam, and trying to get into every football club with different colours.
So we got Tottenham. I think you're a big fan of Tottenham.
Yes, I am. I absolutely. Yeah.
So Tottenham are there, and then
they wouldn't have chosen red.
No, they didn't. No. They did. I don't know if they even chose white. Actually, I think it's probably black.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So yeah, the size as well is it is also probably worth noting. I think with pictures, the pictures don't do it quite justice. It's each of our chargers is about the same size as an A4 piece of paper.
Yeah, really neat. Yeah.
So for, still people, it can shoot like domestic people like to hide sort of chargers, make them a bit more discreet. So it's super small and you can place that on the location of the house where it is discreet. And then for commercial, public sites, it's super hardy, but also quite small. So you can place it in areas which are convenient rather than having sort of big boxes, massive posts and all those sorts of
And again, like I said, it looks great. And I think, a lot of these, certainly the modern day way is perception and what things look like. And that is one charger that does look really slick.
Yeah, well, we certainly think so.
Yeah.
And one thing I should say as well, because I think, getting on to really the topic around like ease of install, why is Easee so convenient for installers? On our Easee Charge, our 22 kilowatt, you can roughly save just 40% of the total overall cost of installation from installing our method of daisy chaining. So in both of our chargers, you can daisy chain the chargers from a single fuse, and they'll do static load management between them. So where you might have one charger or two chargers, suddenly you might be able to have sort of 6 or 8 or 10 Easees through the static load management and the same power output. And it's really critical for a lot of these businesses that are transitioning. This is just as new to them as it was to many of your listeners sort of 4 or 5 years ago. Cars don't need to be charged in the first 2 hours. If you look at a commercial, let's call it a workplace and office, typically people are arriving anytime from 8, leaving probably about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So if you've got a load of EVs, having more bays available to all of those EVs is far more important than having 2 bays where people are just moving cars around all day.
Yeah.
We've got a load of ex-Tesla employees within our business, and one story that goes around is when Tesla first launched one of their outlets, they just had one charger at their depot, and they hired a guy to just move cars around all day.
So cars were queuing up.
Yeah, so he was just employed to, when a car had got to a state of charge which was suitable for a service or for a sale or whatever, he would then move that car and replace. So that was his sole job, is just to move cars around all day. So if you imagine then, on that same outlet, you had 20 chargers. Okay, they were delivering at probably a slightly lower speed than that intensity of one charger, but actually you're completing 20 jobs as opposed to one, and you're hiring a guy.
You're hiring somebody. Yeah, exactly.
So through that, the cable savings, the civil savings, and then you get the time of commissioning. We did a project with Berkeley Homes, and it was it's hundreds of thousands of pounds that was saved using this method of daisy chaining. I think it went from 6,500 kilometers of cable to 1,500 kilometers of cable. It's quite impressive when you start to look at that scale. Yeah, and that's even even suitable for when you get to 5 or 10. You start looking at the lower numbers as well as the super high sort of hundreds to 200 charges.
Some of those numbers and stats you're giving are just incredible, and I think you could probably talk with a number of different examples to sell that out there to the listeners. But some frighteningly impressive stats. On the awards, you mentioned the awards. I'm not sure if you can actually mention names or anything, Sam, but just tell us a bit about a couple of the awards that the product's got.
Yeah, so these awards, I think why they're so profound to us is that they were customer voted for. So they weren't, I'll be controversial. So they weren't like a panel of experts and you weren't paying for a table or anything like that. These awards, and there are 3 of them, and I'll tell you what they're. So they're Auto Trader, What Car, and it's not Auto Express.
Yes, so big names.
Yeah,
huge names. Yeah,
but critically, they're voted for by people that actually have an Easee charger. So they've gone surveyed those customers and then they've fed back. And the Auto Express one was super in depth. It focused on a load of different areas such as reliability, ease of use, app functionality, all of those different areas, and they scored each charger individually. So that was that was at Christmas time, so that was heading into this year. We won that, and that was fantastic, not just for general morale, because it's suddenly like, actually, we still are doing something incredibly impressive, even though we can make some developments. And I think that's always the challenge, is you're always thinking about what you can do better, but perhaps not focusing on also what you do really, really well today.
Yeah.
The Auto Trader one was a fantastic one. So we were up against some really fairly fierce competition, and we came out on top there. That was a fun event. Actually, it was a big award ceremony, mainly focused around cars.
Was that this year as well?
That was this year.
Okay.
So that was in March, April. Time, maybe a little bit later. And yeah, so that is the only award that's not cars. Is the Best Home Charger Award. And then the most recent one is the What Car, which I think has probably gained the most traction over the last couple of weeks, because that's most recent. That was July. And we won that. We came out on top. Again, fierce competition. All of sort of our main competitors were in that top 10. And again, fundamentally, the basis of that was consumers and people that have Easee chargers. What was their feedback? And they also compared reliability and scale at which we can respond to any questions or issues that they have. So again, our customer excellence team are pretty awesome. They're really, really incredible, because I think it's still 97, 98% of every one of our support tickets is resolved remotely. So again, we don't need electricians to go back to site,
time, travel, etc.
It's actually resolved through our cloud. So we view 240 data points that are live within the charger. So we can test individual components. We can self-diagnose the charger remotely. We can send fixes through over-the-air updates, firmware updates. And again, it's all about efficiencies gained for the installer, one from ease of install, but all the way through to the life cycle of that charger as well. Because, your customers take ownership. When they install it, it's not just about installing that charger, it's also about supporting that.
That's right, responsibility, absolutely.
So if we can make that super easy for the installer or the people that are managing those chargers, the better. But yeah, those awards, again, we talk about them enough, I think. But they've been fantastic.
No, that's great. And I think everything you've said today, just from the very start of how the company was started and evolved to the product, to now some of the case studies, to the awards, you can see that everything the company's doing there's a reason why you're growing. And that's kind of how you can see it. 100% really, really good. So, couple of things to finish off with. So the future, what's obviously we've got the product now, which is extremely successful as we know. What's potentially changing in the future, Sam, with the product?
Yeah, so it is fairly volatile, because we don't just work in the UK, we work across loads of different European markets where there's different requirements in each market. But the goal really is to get back to one charger again. We've always felt that you don't need all of these different iterations. If you can have one charger that is capable of doing everything, whether it's in a single phase setting, 3-phase setting, pen fault, no pen fault, it's all in there. And then you can kind of use what you are needing or required to use within that market. So I think that's certainly a goal of ours still to this day. In the immediate future, we've got some really cool products coming. So we'll deliver more products before we resort down back to the singular product. But MID is going to be incredibly important over the coming years and is important today. And that comes from whenever you're billing. So a lot of where you go out and install these chargers, a lot of companies are monetizing these chargers.
So like a landlord, for example.
Correct. Even in the workplace, we see it where employees are being charged.
That's common.
Now, you have to be doing that with an MID meter, either within the charger or within the circuit, to be able to monitor accurately the usage that's being delivered. Similar to home, you've got the smart meter at home, which is the import of energy. We are closely looking at that, and we have developed a charger, which we'll bring to the UK market very soon. So would have thought this year. And that will both work on single phase and 3-phase. You will allow each wiring of single 3-phase on that charger, but it will have that level of accuracy required to be able to bill on those chargers. And that's a really cool looking charger. So it's the same size. It's got a slightly different cover. It kind of looks a bit like if you're looking at the innards of a computer. So it's got a see-through sort of perplex cover.
Perspex. Yeah.
Perspex cover. So you can see the innards of the charger because that modularized.
Yeah.
Is really, really cool when you can see that. So yeah, that's coming. And then there's a lot of stuff down the line as well, in terms of our roadmap. But
ever evolving, as you say. Yeah.
Ideas.
And it will continue to do that over the next probably 5-10 years because it's not stopping this market space, is it? Great, Sam. So look, loads of info there, loads of good detail discussed, and hopefully our listeners, what they've got from that is that enough, or certainly enough to spark questions. Now, where can our listeners find detail or any contact details you can give now for our listeners to go to?
So we make it really easy, actually. So everything's on our website.
Easy, make it easy.
Easy, make it easy. Yeah, that's where puns get a bit old, isn't it? But yeah. So on our website, product sheets, product information, you can download everything. Yeah. So it's we've got a full suite there. Whether it's technical data, installation sheets, we've got videos on YouTube so you can see the installation for yourself. But we're super transparent as an organization, as a business. So with everything like that, we make it accessible, not so you have to come through someone. It's all there available. Yeah. So it's just easee.com. And then you can go and pick whichever data sheet for our accessories, the equalizer, which is a cool product as well, which does solar, or if it's the core product, which is the chargers.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you.
And yourself, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And that's kind of how I'm going to finish it off, because as I started, we are moving into this space in a big way and quite aggressively in the coming weeks or months ahead. So, and obviously partnering with a company like yourself and others, I mustn't take sides on just because of this chat, but we are really wanting to move into this space quite aggressively, and we will have the online platform to push, as you know, Sam, which we are obviously launching now. So really good, great to be working with you, and great to be working with such a successful but also growing, evolving company in an evolving space. So appreciate your time today, Sam. And I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Thanks.